Hi, welcome back. I'm Jessica Graham Robinson with SacredSpaceHealingArts.com, and this is day 3 of the Hone Your Inner Compass Challenge. Yesterday, we talked about all of this stuff, and today, the next challenge is to eat an earlier, lighter dinner. And so I want to talk to you first about why, and then I'm going to talk to you about what that means and how to do it. So why is, like we talked about yesterday, there is a rhythm to our day. There is a rhythm to our bodies and how much bile we produce at what times and what times are meant for specific things. For instance, this time we talked about yesterday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is the best time to eat the biggest meal of the day, to eat a big lunch, because that's when your Agni is at its highest. From 2 to 6, or sunset, or sunrise even, this is the time where we're more in our minds and even out of our minds in a positive way. We can connect with things, like ideas are firing. It's a good time to focus. From sunset or sunrise until 10, the kapha time, that's when we're more in our bodies, more grounded, more rooted. It's a great time to be physical, to do things, whether it's in the morning that we're just doing our workout or we're doing a heavier chores or things like that, or it might be that in the evening, and this is one of the things we're talking about, after we eat our earlier, lighter dinner, that we actually have time to be physical and connect with those around us. Whether you live with people or visit with friends or have kids, right? It's a time that, how nice would it be, instead of eating a late dinner, spending all of your time cleaning up and taking care of all of the things that you have to do until it's time to go to bed, and then maybe you crash in front of the television for a while before you go to bed. Instead of feeling just exhausted because you've been going, what if you ate an earlier, lighter dinner and then you had the rest of the evening, you had 2 or 3 hours that you could just connect with your loved ones, that you could just go for a walk outside, do something that you love. It makes a big difference. So this time is for connectivity and is for physicality. So, so we talked about this mainly in terms of daytime and evening, but we haven't really talked about what's special about from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. This is the time when, if you have eaten your earlier, lighter dinner, and when we eat an earlier, lighter dinner, preferably it's going to be that you're eating before sunset. And I know that might not be possible for all of you, especially if you're used to eating at 8 o'clock or later. It's really hard to make a shift like that. But what you can do is just dial it back to the degree that you feel is doable, really doable. So when we eat around this time, hopefully before the sunset, but close to it, and we eat lighter so it's easier to digest, then by the time we go to bed, our stomachs are not full. The stomach itself is empty. Your digestive organs are still working some, but not as much. So that what happens between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is that you get a deep rest. You actually sleep deeper because your body's not doing all of that work that it would be doing. And instead, your body is getting to focus during this time on some deep internal cleansing that doesn't happen otherwise. It doesn't happen. We don't give it a chance to get to that point, right? So when we eat a dinner, an earlier, lighter dinner, we're giving ourselves a chance to really fast. To you might, depending on what time you eat breakfast and what time you eat dinner, you might have 12 to 16 hours that you're not eating, and that's good for your body. And so you can sleep way deeper, so you're gonna probably wake up feeling a lot better rested, unless you're going to bed way too late. And you're going to You're going to feel different in the morning. I want you to start to, when you start playing with this, I want you to start paying attention to how you feel in the morning, because eating an earlier, lighter dinner is huge. It is such a big shift it makes in your life, in your body. I went from a place where I was waking up every morning feeling very stuck and stiff and heavy and lethargic and not just foggy, like, where's my coffee, to all of a sudden waking up, no joint pain, no heaviness, but actually feeling light, actually feeling like I wanted to do my yoga practice, or I wanted to wake up and get started on my day. It was a huge difference mentally, physically, and emotionally. So many reasons I highly, highly, highly recommend that you really do this habit. So, I mean, it's just an experiment, right? You don't have to do it forever. It's not like you're committing and you're never, ever going to, get to eat a late, heavy dinner. You can do that if you want to. But if you consistently do this for a week, then I can pretty much guarantee you won't want to go back, because the change is that significant. So, like, it's such a small thing that we do, and the payback, the return on your time, or this little change, is huge, I promise. So you have to try it. You have to really try it. So one more thing on eating an earlier, lighter dinner. Specifically, many of you have families. If you have a family, one of the issues that's going to come up is, like, my kids don't want to eat an earlier, lighter dinner, or my husband doesn't want to eat an earlier, lighter dinner, or we have soccer practice until this time, or my husband doesn't get home from work, right? We've all got circumstances. The thing is, when you're working on this habit for yourself right now, I want you to make it about you and no one else. So you don't have to make your kids or your husband or anyone else follow this, but you can do your very best to make it happen for you. And then you can do something nice, like you sit down with them. If they're eating a later dinner, you can sit down with them and have a cup of tea. Just do your best to make it so that it's an herbal tea, that there's no caffeine, and that you're not adding any sweetener or any milk or anything like that that's going to make it a digestive issue, right? So that's really positive. You can sit and you can actually converse with them more because you're not chewing. Okay. So that's one idea. I just highly suggest that you try this. I know it sounds weird. It's very counterculture, but it's really what your body wants. Please, by the way, in the forum, in our Facebook group, if you have questions about this, if you're listening and you're thinking, I don't know about that, and you got some conflicts, whether it's just a mental, like, I don't know if I believe it, or if it's a conflict around, I don't know how I can possibly do this with my work schedule and my family, then comment in there, reach out for support, because I can help you troubleshoot. And it might be that other people also have something to add. And then that can be a really wonderful a time for us to connect and support one another. That's how we all grow. We all grow so much faster when we actually get vulnerable with one another. It's cool. So I hope you do that in the group. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is, what does that mean, earlier, later dinner? So earlier, I already said, hopefully before sunset. But it is winter here in the northern hemisphere, so that might be challenging, even more challenging for some of you. So just as early as you can, and then if you can, make a hard line for yourself and just close in the kitchen at this time. I'm not going to snack afterwards. I'm just going to eat this one meal and get it done as early as I can. And I promise, again, payoff is so huge for this, and you're gonna feel so much better. You might not feel it, especially if you have kind of chronic inflammation. If you do wake up feeling like kind of achy, stiff, swollen, then don't expect a change the very first day, but stick with it. And after 3 days, you might really notice. If not, definitely after a week, you will notice a change. So the other thing is, what are we eating? What's making it lighter? So you can have anything that is like just light in general, but what we're trying to stay away from is things that are harder to digest, because when it's, sun goes down, so does the digestion, right? Our ability to digest. So we want to eat foods that make it easy on your body. So the things that are harder for us to digest are going to be meat, beans, heavy grains or heavy starchy foods like pasta, and dairy, cheese, dairy, things like that. So if you can, I know it might be a big shift for you, but if you can, work towards eating a lighter dinner. And if what you're eating right now is super heavy, then I don't expect you to like switch over to eating a vegetable soup immediately. That's a really big shift. If you think you can, go for it. But if it feels even a little bit over challenging, then don't worry about it. And instead, focus on the earlier part, because dialing that back and not snacking after dinner is going to make a big difference. Another tiny tip: brush your teeth after you finish your dinner, and that will make it a little bit easier to not keep snacking, because you've already done that. You're done. Mouth is done. Kitchen's done, right? So if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the forum, in our Facebook group. I'm calling it the forum. It's our little forum to discuss things and talk about this experiment that we're doing to hone the inner compass. So if you have any questions whatsoever, if you're wondering, what does this have to do with my inner compass, right? I hope you get that. It has to do with, we've got to be able to contract. We've got to be able to empty in order to be able to feel, because most of us honestly eat way too much. And because we're eating for flavor and we're eating to quell our emotions. And so it's not necessarily a necessity. And when we eat for those reasons, for comfort and for fun, then we are not really listening to the body. And so we've got to kind of stop the accumulation so that we can get still, get quiet, like be empty here so we can clean out. It's super beneficial for your body, and then it's going to be way clearing for your mind. You're going to see that if you consistently eat an earlier, lighter dinner and you don't snack afterwards, you're going to wake up eventually, maybe not the first day, but you're going to wake up with a clearer head as well as a lighter body and just a better mood altogether. So I hope this was helpful for you. I also included in our a little bonus of a meal planner and some recipes. So feel free to ask any questions again, and I look forward to connecting with you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.